Y'all, it's VZ and we back with another video. As you see by the thumbnail title, we're reacting to Tim Walz celebrates Kamala Harris debate performance against Donald Trump. We got nothing to say. We're gonna get right into it. I felt like it was a pretty good debate. I know a lot of y'all gonna be laughing. Dogs and cats. That shit was funny as hell, man. I swear it was so freaking funny, bro. But yeah. Like 70% of y'all that are watching are not subscribed. Hit the subscribe button. We dropped a video once or twice daily with daily updates about politics every single day. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you like this video, and hit that notification bell so you get notified when I upload, y'all. I'm gonna mute myself. Y'all enjoy the video. Let's go.
Joining us now, I'm honored to say, is the Democratic vice presidential nominee and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Governor Walz, I really appreciate you making time to be with us here tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Rachel. Great night. A great night.
You were at a watch party in Arizona. You think it was a great night. Tell us how you assess your running mate's performance this evening.
Yeah, I'm out here in Mesa, and folks across the country got to see a president for all Americans. You saw Kamala Harris conduct herself with dignity. She laid out a clear vision forward, one that's an opportunity economy we keep talking about, ability to own a home, making sure prescription drugs are not too expensive, and tackling the real problems and doing it all with grace and dignity. And then on the other side, look, I don't know how other to describe it. You saw a nearly 80-year-old angry narcissist continue to veer off into things that in any other setting might actually be funny, but they're dangerous in this setting. They're dangerous because this guy anywhere near the White House is simply unacceptable. But I think the good news is a lot of Americans are going to see this clip. These things are going to go around. They're going to talk to their neighbors, and they're going to see what Vice President Harris is bringing to them. She talks about them. He talks about himself. She talks about real issues. He goes on tangents that are hard to follow. So I have to tell you, I'm excited about this. It's what we all knew. I'm glad more people are engaging, and we've got an opportunity. All of this, doing it with joy. A politics of joy, a politics of possibilities versus this just increasingly dark. Look, what I say is, Rachel, this guy's rooting against America. He's rooting for failure. He does not want good news. He does not want good economic news. He does not want to see unemployment, inflation going down. He wants to see the worst because whatever twisted vision he has, he thinks he's the guy to fix it when he's the guy who started the problem. So she did a great job. I'm really proud of her.
You know, your running mate, Vice President Harris, one of the things that she was just getting praised for at this table here was that she, right out of the gate, was able to get to a lot of the details of her policy proposals, the kinds of practical proposals that you're talking about, things like child tax credit and a big tax deduction for startup businesses and for first-time homeowners. And she laid out those things, and those things, it's important, obviously, to communicate those things to the American people with such a big audience. Tens of millions of people are watching tonight. It wasn't necessarily news, though, because we know that's what she's running on. On the other side, the other candidate, former President Trump, did make a bunch of news tonight. He refused to say whether or not he would sign a national abortion ban. He refused to say that Ukraine should win the war in Russia, and that would be better. He was asked, 9 years after you first said you wanted to get rid of Obamacare, do you yet have your own health care plan? And he responded by saying, I have concepts of plans. I mean, all of this was, among other things, it was new information in terms of Donald Trump's plans. I wonder if that changes anything for you in terms of thinking about how to campaign against him and his running mate.
Americans should know. We know what a non-answer is when he's talking about this. Of course he would not sign a ban against that because he wants it. He's the one who ruined Roe. He brags about it all the time. Of course he's not going to do anything with Ukraine because he wants Putin, his buddy, to be in there, and he wants to undermine our alliances that have kept peace in the world. These non-answers are as clear as anything. He can't answer them. And again, when you ask him for a plan, 9 years on health care, we know what he's going to do. He's going to destroy the ACA, get rid of pre-existing condition protections. He's going to attack Social Security and Medicare. And the one thing I say, Rachel, is he is clear about he will give tax cuts to the wealthy because that's the one thing he actually followed through with. So he has no plan. When I travel, and we all see this, when I was at the D-Day memorial, it was clear that other countries, deeply concerned with Donald Trump coming back, deeply concerned that his inability to do anything other than a transactional shakedown of our historical allies, as we sat on the beaches of Normandy, where Americans died, protecting Europe, but protecting us. That's the thing. You give in on Ukraine, it empowers China, it empowers Putin, it empowers dictators. But again, one example. He was asked for one world leader who was with him, and it's Orban. My God, that's all you need to know. You've got a leader in Kamala Harris that understands the importance of these alliances. She understands what it truly means to stand up for the Western democracies, and she truly means to talk about others. Donald Trump talked about himself 99% of the time, and if he wasn't talking about that, he was talking about Orban. So it was couldn't have been clearer. Couldn't have been clearer. And I'd just like to say, if I can make my plug, she did her job. Americans need to do theirs. Get engaged. Get the facts. Go to KamalaHarris.com. Go down and do some door knocking. Talk to your neighbor. Talk to your relatives. It was clear tonight that there is only one person on that stage that should be president of the United States, and that was Kamala Harris.
One of the more interesting and I think unpredictable moments in the debate, Governor Walz, was a back and forth with the former president about whether or not he believes that he won or lost the last election. He has made some contrary remarks about this in recent days. He tried to claim, I think not very credibly, and was called out by one of the moderators, tried to claim that those recent comments were meant sarcastically, as if he had been joking. It really didn't seem at the moment like he was. The reason this isn't just about 2020, it's not just about 4 years ago, it's about now, is because presumably his attitude toward American elections carries through from the last one to this next one. And I have to ask if you and your campaign and Vice President Harris are fully expecting that even if you wipe the floor with him, even if you win by a lot in November, that he is going to enlist the entire Republican Party, both nationally and in every state that he can, in trying to claim falsely that he won.
The pasta party has begun at Fazoli's. For just $4, you can savor spaghetti with marinara, spaghetti with meat sauce, or creamy, cheesy fettuccine alfredo. Yep, you heard that right. Only $4 for your favorite Fazoli's pastas, including our legendary garlic breadsticks. For a limited time, only at Fazoli's.
So I'm going to therapy. When I found out about BetterHelp, I was so stoked because I was finally going to be...
Yeah, that's who this guy is. And let's be very clear. This is a threat to the democracy. It is the most treasonous thing you can do to undermine what was fair and free election. He's never had anybody support anything other than a pillow guy support his insane rhetoric around this. But look, this is dangerous. 140 police officers were hurt and some were killed. This has caused issues across this country. The campaign, we're ready for this. We know it's going to be a tough race. We know that he's not going to probably concede. That's why I say once again to Americans, get out there, get engaged, make sure that we're doing everything necessary. And I'm going to give a huge thank you to those election workers, folks like my mom, who's been a poll watcher for years, folks that are on the Republican, Democrats, Independents, who do the hard work of democracy for no money. They're being put at risk by the recklessness of Donald Trump because he can't, at nearly 80 years old, do something that my fourth graders, when I taught them, did. When you lose a game, you go shake hands and you congratulate the other person and you move on. We're in this together. This guy cares nothing about the democracy. He cares nothing about the American people. He cares about himself and himself only. So again, I appreciate the moderators calling him out on this, re-questioning him on it, making it clear that he's not lost. But look, this guy is a threat. This is going to be a close election. We know it comes down to the battleground states. So for all the listeners out there, we need you. We need you to get engaged. We need you to send a message to this. And I just came a few minutes ago from talking with Mesa Mayor Giles, a Republican, who says, I'm a strong Republican. I don't agree with all of your positions, but you are standing in the breach of democracy. Donald Trump is a threat to that, and he proudly stood there with he and his family. That's the type of things we need Americans to do across this country. Kamala Harris is going to be that president for all of us. You don't have to agree with every policy, but it's very clear. She trusts this democracy. She puts the Constitution above everything else. He doesn't. I'm going to get the opportunity to have a debate with someone who's on the stage because Mike Pence sure isn't, because he was willing to put the Constitution above Donald Trump. So we get to continue this conversation over the next 56 days, but it's absolutely critical people know what the threat is.
Governor Walz, I want to ask you about your prep for that debate with J.D. Vance coming up. But while we have been talking, somebody's just handed me something, and I'm going to do sort of a not very TV thing, and I'm going to read it to you in totality. I'm going to read you the whole thing because this was, I don't think you know about this, but this was just posted online by a woman you might have heard of whose name is Taylor Swift. And she has posted this online along with a photo of her cat. And I'm going to read to you what she just posted. Quote, like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you the most. As a voter, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposed policies and plans for this country. Recently, I was made aware that AI of me, quote me, falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted to his site. It really conjured up my fears around AI and the dangers of spreading misinformation. It brought me to the conclusion that I need to be very transparent about my actual plans for this election as a voter. The simplest way to combat misinformation is with the truth. Then she says, quote, I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she is a steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we're led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ+ rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. I've done my research, and I've made my choice. Your research is all yours to do, and the choice is yours to make. I also want to say, especially to first-time voters, remember that in order to vote, you have to be registered. I also find it's much easier to vote early. I will link where to register and find early voting dates and info in my story. With love and hope, Taylor Swift, signed Childless Cat Lady. I have to get your response to that, Mr. Governor.
All those things, I am incredibly grateful, first of all, to Taylor Swift. I say that also as a cat owner, a fellow cat owner. Look, Swifties, you heard it. We know that it's there. That was eloquent, and it was clear. And that's the type of courage we need in America to stand up. We've seen it out of those Republicans who were at the DNC. We've seen it out of women who would like to have their own personal lives kept personal, but are forced to go out there because they nearly died because they can't get abortion services in a pregnancy. And now you have somebody like Taylor Swift coming out, making that very clear. This would be the opportunity, Swifties. KamalaHarris.com. Get on over there. Give us a hand. Get things going.
Governor Walz, you do have your own debate with J.D. Vance that is coming up and coming up quickly. Have you started prepping for that yet, or do you have thoughts already about how you're going to approach that?
Yeah, I need to. Look, he's Yale law guy. I'm public school teacher, so we know where he's at on that. Sure, I think it's a good opportunity to contrast where we're at. You'll hear me talk like I have about things that impact Americans, making sure they have the opportunity to thrive, making sure that we're being factual in how we talk about that. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'll work hard. That's what I do. I fully expect that Senator Vance, as a United States Senator, a Yale law guy, he'll come well prepared. But I think what you saw tonight is the American public is on the side of truth. The American public is on the side of things that impact their lives in a positive way. And I'll continue to put that out and continue to lift up this incredible vision that Kamala Harris brought out tonight, this incredible just change in our politics to be joyful, hopeful, and look, she did what it is. We can be joyful, but don't mistake her kindness for weakness, because she called that out, and I said, I did enough lunchroom supervision. You put bullies in their place, and she put a bully in his place all night, and right before our eyes, Donald Trump got angrier and smaller and more irrelevant. We need to keep pressure on for 56 days and win this thing.
We don't know yet what the voters will think of tonight's debate. We don't even know yet how many people have tuned in and watched it. The immediate reaction from the political observers who I serve with here at MSNBC was that your running mate, Vice President Harris, essentially wiped the floor with Donald Trump tonight. Joy Reid said the word that she chose was destroyed. Chris Hayes and Lawrence O'Donnell had an interesting colloquy between them as to whether or not this might have been the best televised presidential debate performance ever, not just against Donald Trump, but in any presidential debate. And so Again, we don't know how viewers at large will view it, but I think at least here, our tiny, weird focus group thinks that she did very well. Given that, it doesn't necessarily lend itself toward an obvious next choice. You could just leave it at this and decide that that was a pretty good way to leave yourself in the minds of voters before they head into the voting booth, or you could agree to another debate. I mean, if Donald Trump agreed to do it, do you think that Vice President Harris should debate him again after tonight?
Look, I don't want to speak for her, but I would be there encouraging her to do it every day if she could. We know there's going to be nothing new. It's the same old tired agenda that he brings every time, and she's bringing this new hopefulness, this ability to be able to articulate what Americans are asking for. The agenda that he brings up, no one's asking for that. He can, in his mind, 99% of people, whatever that is, it's him and whoever else is in his head. Those are the people that are thinking that way. So, look, she'll make that decision. We agreed to these two debates. We will carry them out. We'll see where it goes. But again, I would just encourage Americans, don't believe this thing's over by any stretch. This thing is going to be a margin of error race. We know that it'll be close. We know that there will be attempts to try and discourage people from voting. But Taylor Swift's right. Get registered early, get engaged, and, voting's the entry point. Maybe make a few phone calls, do a door knock. If you can, contribute. Those are the things that help us take this message to every corner of the country.
Democratic vice presidential nominee, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Sir, I know a lot of pressure on your schedule tonight. Thank you so much for spending some of it here with us. Thanks, Rachel. All right. Good luck, sir.
There I have it, Mr. Tim Walz. Shout out to Mr. Tim Walz. Walz. Make sure y'all vote this year, man. It's very important. Like I said, we're not a country that's divided. I mean, we are kind of divided. So a lot that goes on in this country, but let's not be divided. We just have different opinions on stuff, and whoever wins fairly. It is what it is. Whoever wins, it is what it is. I hope they do the best for our country, man. But yeah, shout out to Mr. Tim Walz. Let me know what y'all think it down in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you're notified when I upload, y'all. I have way more videos to do. If you have any more videos you want me to react to, link it down in the comment section, please. Like I said, please subscribe to the channel. 70% of y'all not subscribed. Subscribe to the channel. It's the best news channel ever. Yes, I don't have my camera on, but it's okay. It's definitely okay. I love y'all. I got more videos to do. Peace and love, baby. And we out.